other person who's better suited to talk to us about this than Walter Mong'are, who's a creative and governance expert. Thank you so much for finding time to join us.
Thank you for inviting me. But yes, you have water and I'm yet to have water.
You've already started the drama.
But thank you.
We're going to sort that in a few. A play was written and directed by Cleophas Malala, former Kakamega senator. It was initially banned from the Kenya National Drama Festival, but now the court gave it the green light to be staged. We've seen a lot of hullabaloo surrounding it, and the picture finally wasn't quite rosy. I want to hear your take on that, the whole drama on stage and off stage.
First, allow me to acknowledge and appreciate the more than 9,000 young people who were at the festival this year, because the Drama and Film Festival caters for almost 10,000 students every year. And so allow me to acknowledge that pool of creativity that was in Nakuru, encourage the Ministry of Education for what they continue to do to give the young people an opportunity to express themselves and be out there, showcase their talent and creativity. So it doesn't go unnoticed. At the same time, allow me, because I happened to be in Nakuru, allow me to acknowledge Moi High School, Mbiruri, that had a very interesting play that is a reflection of CBC that we're talking about, balancing work and play, where the story is about an A student and an average student, an A student who actually ends up being employed by the average student at the end of the play, which is a reflection of what happens in life. Just the balance of, what you call work, study balance kind of thing. And so we acknowledge immensely what the Moi High School Mbiruri guys did. Allow me to just chime in on what you've said. One, as a parent. Two, as a person who's been in that space of what you can call almost controversy. Allow me to say what took place actually was unfortunate. And personally, I genuinely empathize with the parents, I empathize with the teachers, I empathize with the organizers. We empathize with the journalists who are there, that such was unfortunate. And especially, I empathize as a parent and as a creative with the girls who have gone through what you can call an experience that is unfortunate. And I want to acknowledge their bravery as those young girls, acknowledging their creativity. And as a parent, let us be mindful of what we continue to propagate or say in relation to this incident or this unfortunate situation. Okay. And I want to draw a parallel between what we went through as we were beginning as a ridiculous trio.
And I'll come to that.
And everybody would think that we had it rosy, but I would want to genuinely allow the matter to rest there. That's what I would say.
Yes, and you're praising one school for coming up with a very creative play about CBC. All these are societal issues.
Yes.
CBC, youth activism. The play Echoes of War, and I want us to talk particularly about that play, was really, it met the backlash because it had politically sensitive content. That's what was stated. So where do we draw the line when it comes to artistic expression? Where do we say now CBC and youth activism, one, we give it a yay, the other one we give it a nay?
You see, naturally, the conversation of art, the role of art in society is a mirror of what we could be going through. And it's very, very easy for the art to be the tool for expression, because I don't believe art is aggressive. I don't believe art is abusive. I believe that art is expressive, is expressing the things that we experience on a daily basis in an artistic way that then gets the message across. And so going back to Echoes of War, I want to ask myself this question. What is the synopsis of that play? what was it intended to communicate? Was it aired? Did we get an opportunity to watch it to the end in order for us to have a critique? You know, otherwise I would be joining a bandwagon on talking about something that I never experienced. I can't say it had this particular scene because I've not had the opportunity to watch. The kids never had an opportunity to stage it, if we say so. So I would not be, honestly, I would not be going on to a certain tangent that I'm not very clear about.
And what is your, how do you see the government's response of, you know, banning, policing, at a point even restricting access as a reflection of his stance on, you know, youth expression?
What I know is any artistic work naturally would be giving a critique of what you call government policies, would be questioning what you call, you know, societal norms, would be giving voice to a marginalized subject or community or something. That's what plays, that's what spoken word does, that's what music does. And I wanted to believe that it's not a question of government versus the people. Let us now talk about the reality and the issues that come out from such conversations, as opposed to pointing a finger here, pointing a finger there. And that's what I said from the beginning. It's unfortunate that we get there, but let's have this conversation.
Since time immemorial, band works, you've talked about, you know, spoken word, music, books, you know, literal works. Band works are the most sought after. I mean, don't people see that? Does it ever occur to the people, let's say, in that policy-making table or the decision-making table that, you know, if we go hard on this, now that's when people want to watch, because a lot of people want to watch Echoes of War, I'll be honest.
It's natural. I mean, just as we continue to have this conversation, when we started out as a trio in university, the more it seemed to be controversial, the more people wanted to watch, the more we got microphones switched off, lights being switched off on stage, threats, and some of us not being allowed to continue with school because we are seen to be against the government. And I wanted to say earlier, as I said, anytime you have a perspective and an artistic expression that seems to contradict with official narratives, it's natural for that kind of reaction. Yeah.
And you've talked about your trio. There's one who's now a member of parliament.
Yes.
Who, and you know, I believe he's still your friend.
No, he's my younger brother.
He's your younger brother.
Yes.
Excellent. You still have chats, I'm sure. And some people have, you know, accused him of going the full circle and becoming the people he used to criticize. What does he say about that?
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, one, when you sign up for a public role and public space, you must be ready for ridicule, as we called ourselves. You must be ready. You know, those days we had an opportunity to be from the audience perspective and watching the leaders in space and in action. And therefore, I don't find it very, I don't find it odd or awkward for people to say that KJ seems to be what he acted, because now KJ is actually in the position of leadership. And what we were doing then is reflecting the leadership then in terms of how they were doing things. And therefore, I would expect, I'm in political space, I'm in leadership, I'm in governance, and not everybody will be happy with what I do or how I say it. And that's expression. That's expression. That is the freedom of expression that we actually advocated for all along through our acts. So whatever is going on, whatever backlash that KJ or myself would get, being in space of leadership, we are now the leaders who we were actually trying to, you know, use art.
So you're saying you change your ideologies?
No, it doesn't.
Did you believe in what you're doing then?
Yes, and we still believe in what we're doing. And talking about KJ, I want to say this. First, I'm not a voter, I'm not a resident of Dagoretti South, where he's a member of parliament. So I vote in Westlands, I live in Westlands, so I would tell you this. And I know you have this, you have this sheepish smile, but I'll tell you this.
He's a national leader, yeah.
Because here he's a member of parliament for Dagoretti South. He's not a national leader, but he's in national discourse. I would tell you this. the best way to critique or analyze somebody's output is from the ground. That's why people say vitu kwa ground ni different. I'm sure the people of Dagoretti South have a different narrative about Mheshimiwa KJ. People have different understanding and expectations when he came into parliament. And since this is about creativity, I would restrict my contribution on his scorecard, which will be judged well and fairly in 2027. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people have criticized Cleophas Malala for apparently using kids to settle political scores. We are dealing with a very informed citizenry right now. These kids watch news, they know what is happening around them. These are not things that are hidden. For instance, when we broadcast these things, we don't have that PG, parental guidance for primetime news. These are kids who watch what is happening. And by them not going on stage to perform Echoes of War or any other play, doesn't mean that they're blind to what is happening. What's your take on that?
Number one, I want to be very, very clear on this. We are talking about art as a platform.
Yes.
And art as a platform has different levels. And that's why we have children who have child play. That's why we have the kindergartens having their own level of creativity, or a platform to enact what they know. That's why we have high school categories. That's why we have university categories. So when we talk about the art space, we are not restricted to a certain age bracket. Coming back to your question of using the kids, I don't believe the drama and music festival platforms are platforms that are meant to be abused or the kids to be used for something. That's why we have adjudication. That's why we have teachers who approve scripts. That's where we have a school management that looks through the plays. We have the national officials who give themes and guidance of what this year's, for example, this year theme was using technology to nurture creativity at the same time to get the children to contribute to national development. There are themes that are given. There are adjudication that happens from the zonal level all the way to national level. So I want to believe that there's a process that then allows certain plays to progress to a certain point, or if there's any corrective measure for somebody to correct, there are different levels for that to happen. So I want to believe that by a time a play is coming to a national platform, then it has gone through all those processes and it has been found fit to be on a national platform.
Yeah. Are you a product of the National Drama Festival?
Yes, and proudly so, and that's why I was in Nakuru and had an opportunity to be there with the organizers, the chairman CJ Odhiambo, and the team James Ndimbuli and everybody else, and they gave me an opportunity actually to be on stage to give a background of how this drama has brought me to where I am today. So I'm very proud of that platform.
So kindly draw us the parallels during your time and this time, just briefly.
During our time, TV was restricted in terms of when do you watch TV. And if I take you back, we came into a time when there were very few TV stations that were licensed. The national broadcaster was dominant and did opening and closing time. And so it was natural, what we can call natural control, that the TV stations opens at around 4 and by 11 it's already closed. Okay. That's the kind of thing we're talking about. Fast forward today, the platforms have changed. You're digital, you're online, you're on people's phones. We have phones now. Those days we had pagers on ourselves if we have to communicate. Now, those days we had phones that were literally for phones only. Now you have your screens on TV, on your phone. You have your tablets and everything else. So the platforms have changed, the exposure points have changed. That's why you're saying these young people are knowledgeable, because the platforms are many. There are many TV stations. Look at where we are right now. We didn't have you then. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So when you started go back to your trio back in campus. Did you feel protected as as an artist doing political satire, or it was just a gamble?
First and foremost, there is somebody who made remarks the other day that, our former president, the late President Moi, God rest his soul, eternal peace, somebody remarked and said, but the guy used to enjoy watching Ridiculous, and Ridiculous were allowed to do this. I want to tell you this, that number one, we had numerous threats. And we were even discussed in Parliament as three young people from the university who have no regard or respect for the head of state. And action was to be taken against us. It was brought to the floor of Parliament by the late Nasir, Sharif Nasir, who was then a minister, very powerful minister in Moi's government. And so we had our fair share of being intimidated, switching off, being threatened in school because we were in public university at Kenyatta University, and we were told the president was the chancellor of all the universities. So why are you making fun of the chancellor? And so personally, I was expelled from campus for that. So we had our own fair share at our time. So we didn't have it easy. Yes.
And I want us to talk about that in a few. I want you to tell our viewers what really followed after that episode. But now time for us to get a bit sporty, and then we'll be back with this conversation.